back to the Wild West and my workshop. In today's episode, I'm gonna get hammered. Now today's saga begins with a trip to Northern California to pick up a 7,000-pound power hammer that's been sitting idle for quite a few years. There was 3 power hammers in this historical shop in downtown Eureka: a 200-pound ram, a 300-pound ram, and a 400-pound ram. The 200 and the 400 are headed back to Montana with me and Heil. Heil's taking the 200 and I'm getting the 400. The 300 is staying down there with Mike Griffin, a blacksmith and bladesmith who organized the whole ordeal for us to be able to get these hammers in the first place. My friend Andrew brought up an 8,000-pound capacity cat telehandler to get the thing unloaded. We started by picking it from the top with a sling, dropping it down onto the ground, picking it from underneath, and driving it in. As you guys saw in the last episode, I've got the concrete power hammer foundation poured, since the hammer would have busted straight through the concrete that was already there. This also gives better performance to the hammer because of science. The next step was to take the hammer linkage apart to get to the rollers, the parts that allow the leaf springs to give the hammer an elastic, variable blow. We'll be taking care of that at Salem Straub's shop in North Central Washington. Salem is the man who taught me the vast majority of what I know about bladesmithing. So, sorry world.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
But he also happens to be the proud owner of a Beaudry No. 9 and plenty of machine tools to help restore stuff like this. So these are both rollers. This one has been chipped out really badly on one side, has a chip that's about to come out of the other side. And this one is severely ovalized here, and the little tenon that sticks out on the side is severely worn down as well. It's just ugly. Fortunately, we have this nice, big, round 4 inches of 4340, courtesy of Online Metals. Thank you, Online Metals. There's a discount code for Online Metals. It's going to be in the description of this video, by the way, but more about that later on. So we're going to go ahead and first off, cut this thing in half, and then we're going to turn it up in Salem's big old, chunky Pratt & Whitney lathe. Well, we got both of the rollers turned, crowned, tenons on both sides, and they're ready to go in the heat treating oven. Oh my gosh, that is close.
Oh yeah. I think that's gonna be fine. Oh, it didn't even flare at all, did it?
Oh, is it in the water now? I dropped it.
It's not too scaly at all.
No,
It looks good. Nice.
Well, now that we got these heat treated, it's time to chuck them back up in the lathe and angle grind them down to get to the decarb on the outside. With the rollers turned, heat treated, and finished ground, I headed back to Montana to keep on taking apart the hammer. Alright, now that we got the hammer moved back out into the open, we had to push it in the corner there so we could pour the slab a little easier. We're going to try to get this big nut attached to the pitman off so we can pull our ram out. The reason we need to pull the ram out again is that we need to grind out the tracks that have formed on the inside from the old rollers being crusty. Alright, I don't exactly know how I want to try trapping that. Yeah. So what happens right now when you try to move this nut around is it just goes with the flow. Alright, this is the first actually stuck nut that I've encountered on this thing. I didn't feel it. I felt all of that move. Blue wrench time. Means I need to wear ears and eyes. So this is a very old rosebud tip, and it appears like we maybe got ourselves a little backfire. Okay. That's really bad. We'll try it with the small blue wrench first, and then go buy a new rosebud tip after. Oh my gosh. We're just bending this whole wrench. Oh, that is crusty with a capital K. It may be time for a trip into town. We need more welding gases, that's what we need. Well, what you guys just saw, but did not hear, because I forgot to turn the mic on, is that the nut that was right here was impossible to get to with the wrench. Like, it just wasn't happening. But I hit it with a hammer, and it came loose. And the reason why I needed to get this nut loose was that the brake on the back, that's this dude right here, is bolted through the frame of the hammer, and now, basically, this thing's off kilter a little bit right now. It's pretty stuck. I'm gonna tap on it with a metal hammer. All right, that's pretty good. Alrighty, we've got it locked in there. I got it to move! Alrighty. Heck yeah, that is a big nut. Oh man, it is crusty too. Let's see, is this thing pretty hot? Oh, it's so beautiful. Starting to get more difficult as I get into kind of that crustier stuff at the bottom of the thread there. It's a forearm workout and a half right there. Oh, but we're free. That was way more of a process than I hoped it was gonna be, but it turned out in the end, and we got all of the pieces off. Now we just need to make sure that they're all crack-free, and we can clean them up and put them back on. Had a little bit of a kerfluffle right there, but got it free with the help, the old cheater bar. I cheated and then got it free, but I don't want to move it around with it this high in the air. This thing is so crusty. Wow. I'm not mad, I'm just impressed. It's amazing. And let's do it inside the trash can I just bought to do this in. Gotta make sure that my hands stay nice and clean. Wow, okay. Okay, CRC, I see you. That loosens stuff up quite a bit. Yesterday was a beautiful day outside, and now it's hailing. Oh, hell no. Now that the whole linkage is off the front, I've totally forgot I can take apart the brake assembly for the first time now. Hey-o! Well, here's wiggity what's up. I've been doing an unholy amount of hand wire brushing, degreasing, scrubbing, cleaning. I actually tried spraying down the whole thing with a little bit of paint thinner to see if that would help with the massive amount of old paint that was stuck on here. And it didn't. What I gotta say is that trying to get up inside this flywheel is just a nightmare. You can't get in there because there's like these weird angles inside this 500-pound cast iron cave that's 8 feet off the ground. Really not the ideal spot to be cleaning things. That being said, we're most of the way there. That's been the hardest part so far. Everything else has come out pretty easy. And then, in the midst of all of the degreasing and cleaning, my ADHD slapped me in the face and said, Will, you've got to pivot the anvil right now. You see, this anvil down here is separate from the rest of the power hammer frame. And for whatever reason, the last time the people that moved this, they rotated the anvil 180 degrees. So, without any further ado, that brings us on to our main talking point of the day, which is that today's sponsor is CRC Industries. CRC makes all sorts of good stuff for metalworking, automotive, and industrial purposes, such as parts cleaner and degreaser and rust converter. Now, for the longest time, I used brake clean. I use CRC brake clean for everything, as I'm sure quite a few of you guys do too, because it's a great cleaner and degreaser, but I never used it on brakes, and so when I started working with CRC, they were like, Will, for the love of all things, stop using brake cleaner for everything and use the good stuff, which is the parts cleaner and degreaser. And I was a little skeptical at first because brake clean's so good, but this stuff really works pretty dang good. So I used that to get the whole frame of the hammer clean in preparation for using this rust converter coating. Now this stuff I was turned on to by my friend Jeff, who restores big old bench vices. Thanks, Jeff. And it goes on, you paint it on with a paintbrush and kind of a thin, milky white vinyl acrylic coating, and it neutralizes the rust and then leaves behind a really nice kind of satin black coating that you can either use as a finish coat or you can paint over it as a primer coating. I think I'm gonna leave the frame of the hammer coated with this stuff because from the pictures that I've seen, it looks really nice. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint one coat on, we're gonna let it dry for about an hour, and we're gonna paint another coat on, and then we're gonna be done so. Well, I am just absolutely thrilled with how this finish came out. It's a nice, dark satin black, but it's still got plenty of character left over from the last 100 years of use and abuse. Another huge thank you to CRC for sponsoring today's video with the rust converter and the degreaser, and they sent me a whole pallet load of other stuff that I'm just stoked to get to use in the workshop. You get to see that coating go on to all of the rest of the pieces that are going on this hammer. The next episode, we were hoping to do this in one, but Isaiah can attest, that video would have been 45 minutes long. Another quick thank you to Online Metals for sending over the material for the rollers, and the material that I used for the wrench to take this thing apart as well. You guys can find a discount code for that down in the description. Thank you guys a ton for watching. Make sure to let me know all of the things that I did wrong in the comments. I'm sure there will be plenty. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.